want to give a brief little chat about my Kindle Oasis, and why I love it. Now, I wasn't one of those who rebelled against e-readers. I've always been a voracious reader. Ever since I was a kid, I've had a book on the go, always got something on the go. And when e-readers first came out, I gotta admit, I wasn't initially that fussed by the concept, because I loved, as a lot of people still say, I loved the feeling of holding a physical book in my hand. Holding a physical book in my hand. This old paperback here is Colonel's Son by Robert Markham. And this was actually the first James Bond book not written by Ian Fleming. It's actually written by Ian. It was actually written by Kingsley Amis. And published under the name of Robert Markham. And as a lot of people who avoid e-readers will say, I love the physical smell of a book in your hand, you know that. But all you're smelling is old dust and glue and so forth. So when e-readers advanced from LCD screens and you actually had e-ink screens, that is, screens that actually produce the text on the screen from ink which is charged electronically and then placed on the screen, and once that's done they use very little power until you turn a page and the process starts all over again. So it means that e-readers could, the batteries in an e-reader would last for a heck of a long time. And there was also the fact that a basic novel such as this didn't take up much space within the memory of an e-reader, so you could effectively carry thousands of books around with you in your pocket. Now, the first e-reader I ever got, I bought from Borders. We used to have a Borders over here in the UK before they went bust in the country. I do miss Borders. It was a great shop, because you could get a lot of the American magazines that you wouldn't get in any other type of newsagent type shop. You know, you couldn't get them in W.H. Smith or John Menzies. That's going back. I'm showing my age now. So I love Borders. But anyway, the first e-reader I bought was an Elinox, which I purchased from Borders, and I can remember the first book I ever read on it, and that was The Searchers, the original novel, which of course inspired the brilliant John Wayne movie of the same name. But I keep reading articles about the Kindle. You know, now the Kindle was the market leader, the best device, and Amazon, of course, threw their weight behind the product by creating the Kindle store. Eventually, I did up onto the Kindle bandwagon. The first Kindle I had, it wasn't the first generation. I don't even think it was the second generation. It was the Kindle with the keyboard on the bottom. Can't remember, but it was wonderful. Then I went to a Kindle Paperwhite. And for the last few years I've used a Kindle Oasis, and this is my Kindle Oasis here. These are billed as the premier e-reader on the market, and you can see the display there is superb. If you're a reader and you read a lot, you don't want to be reading on an LCD screen because of eye strain. And I enjoy reading on my Kindle Oasis. I do love the device. And of course, for those people who say, oh, it's not the same reading on a device, then if the book you're reading is well written and it does its job, in other words, carries you into the story, then the device becomes secondary to the experience. You live in the story, your experience in the world that the author's creating. So the device you're holding in your hand, whether it be a paperback or an electronic device, that becomes secondary. That doesn't matter. So I do love my Kindle Oasis. I've had it for several years now. I won't be upgrading this device until, as the rumours are, that in 2025, next year, Amazon will release a colour e-ink screen. I'm looking forward to that because, okay, most of what I read, and I use my Kindle largely for non-fiction, for fiction rather. I use my Kindle almost exclusively for fiction. For non-fiction, I still prefer a physical book. It's just easier to flip through the pages, you know, look up certain sections, and the photographs are better produced. But when colour e-ink, and there are colour e-ink tablets out there at the moment. There's Kobo have got a colour device which I read a lot about, and I was tempted to hop onto the Kobo bandwagon and give up the Kindle, but I do love the Amazon reading experience, and I do love the Amazon store, and of course I subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, which means I can have a vast amount of books free of charge, other than the monthly subscription to Kindle Unlimited. So I will be sticking with Kindle, but I am looking forward to the prospect of a colour e-ink screen. And I know we've heard reports in the past that Kindle will be bringing out colour e-ink readers very soon, only for that not to materialise, but this time it does look certain. I myself went onto Amazon, went onto the help section and got a chat with a person at Amazon, and I said, look, I'm thinking of upgrading my Kindle. I said, as you can check from my records, I've had several Kindles over the years. I've had the Kindle keyboard, I've had the Kindle Paperwhite, and now I've got the Kindle Oasis. But I'm thinking of switching over to Kobo, because the latest Kobo colour e-ink screens are pretty damn good. But I'm loath to leave Kindle, so I'm wondering, are Amazon going to release a colour Kindle as is rumoured? And I got a message back basically, which was a standard press release, and it just said, until now all Kindle e-readers have been black and white, but all that's about to change in 2025. So and that was from Amazon itself, so it does look certain that we will get a colour e-ink Kindle sometime next year, and then I will upgrade from my Oasis. But let's just talk a little bit about the Oasis now. It differs from the other e-readers in the Kindle range because of its design. It's got this bevel edge here, which is designed to make it easy to hold in your hand here. And it is comfortable reading. It's also got a warm display which you can set automatically, so in the night if you're reading in bed the screen warms, so it minimizes the amount of blue light that is actually going into your eyes, which is supposedly disrupts sleep patterns. The Kindle Oasis, again, as different from the other Kindle devices, has physical page turning buttons. When I first had the Kindle, that wasn't what interested me about the Oasis. When I first switched to the Oasis, rather, that wasn't what interested me, because I didn't see any need of the buttons. I'm quite happy swiping the screen. But as I've used it now for several years, I do find myself using the buttons more and more. The reason that I opted from the Paperwhite, which I loved, I couldn't pick any fault with the Paperwhite at all, to the Oasis was because I read so many articles stating that the Oasis screen was that much better, the lighting was that much better, this was just so much of a better device. And of course, rather than being plastic as on the Paperwhite, the casing of the Kindle Oasis is metal, it's waterproof. Although when it first came out, that was a big buying factor, the fact that it was waterproof, because I like to read in the bath. I'll sometimes lay in a bath for an hour or so, lay back with my book. So the waterproofing was a big selling point, but now all of the Kindles, even down to the basic model, are waterproof. So if I were buying a Kindle today, I don't think I'd opt for the Oasis, because it is quite a lot more expensive than the standard Kindles, and it doesn't provide as much bang for the buck, as much differences as it once did. But colour Kindles are going to disrupt the market, and I can't wait to see them. From what I've seen of the latest generation of colour e-readers, such as the Kobo, and there are several more, the colours that they produce on the book cover seem to be undersaturated. They seem to be rather subdued. Now I believe that the technology that Amazon are going to use will be a step up. The ink technology is going to be a step up from that, and the colour that produced is supposedly going to be really stunning, and it's about time too, because we waited a long time for a colour Kindle, and it does finally look like we're going to get one, so I'm really looking forward to that. So anyway, that was a basic chat on my Kindle e-reader, my Kindle Oasis. As I say, I use this almost exclusively for reading fiction, and in fact I've had this now so many years that I do prefer reading fiction on my e-reader than I do a physical book. I just find it so much easier. Pop it in my bag when I go to work. I've always got it with me. I don't need to use a bookmark. I open the Kindle and it magically appears at the page. It's also great if you've got the audiobook of whatever book you're reading, as well as the Kindle version, and you can read audiobooks on these via Bluetooth. It'll link to a Bluetooth headphone and will read audiobooks for you. But sometimes if I'm reading a book and I also own the audiobook, I might have a long drive, say, for work, because with the job I do, I tend to travel a lot, so sometimes I got 2.5 hours on the road before I get to my first job. So I listen to the audiobook in the car, because I'm so into a book that I don't want to lose reading time, so I listen to the audiobook, and I've really got used to doing that now, and I enjoy audiobooks, and some of them, especially the ones you get on Audible now, are really well read. So I'll read, maybe I'll listen rather, for a couple of hours while I'm driving, of the whatever particular book I'm reading, and when I get home of an evening then, and I pick up my Kindle and I open it up, by the magic of WhisperSync, the Kindle book moves forward to the exact same place I was on the audio version, so that's great. I love ebooks. I do love my Kindle ebook. Books that were previously out of print are very hard to find. There's no need for anything to be out of print anymore. It can sit in the cloud, in a store, in Amazon or some other ebook store, and you can purchase it quite easily. So I do love my Kindle Oasis, but I am chomping at the bit for a colour Kindle next year. And that's what we've been promised, and it can't come soon enough in my opinion. Anyway, cheers. Keep reading.